Hi students, welcome back to our English class. Today we are going to the Unit 5 Ray of Hope. The first lesson is Vanka. It is written by Anton Chekhov. All children have rights no matter who they are, where they live, what their parents do, what language they speak, what their religion is, whether they are boys or girls, what their culture is, whether they have disability, whether they are rich or poor. But a majority of them are denied their rights in many ways. Here is the story of a boy who faced a lot of difficulties and was forced to leave his grandfather to work as an apprentice to a shoemaker in Moscow. Let's see the summary of the story. Vanka. The story opens on Christmas Eve with Vanka, a poor orphan of the age of 9, sitting down to write a letter to his grandfather. This man works as a night watchman for the Shivarev family estate and resides in an unidentified village in Russia. Vanka has been transferred to new masters in Moscow to live with the family of Alyakin, the shoemaker. This lifestyle oppresses the little orphan who grows frustrated with the situation and tries to contact his grandfather to ask for help. As he writes the letter, Vanka recalls his jesting, lively grandfather and his life at the village before he was apprenticed to this new home. The young boy recollects the two dogs, Kashtanka and Eel, who follow his grandfather around the estate and sometimes partake of the grandfather's snuff. As he writes, Vanka also records some of the harsh treatment that he has received at the hands of Alyakin's wife, and the older apprentices. A lifestyle of beatings, scoldings, mockery, and unsatisfactory food has driven Vanka to crave escape. He writes that if he is rescued from Alyakin, he will protect his grandfather and gladly perform odd jobs. Vanka also describes some of the goods available in the Moscow shops. Yet, his thoughts are dominated by memories of a Christmas at the Shivarev household when Vanka had accompanied his grandfather into a nearby forest to cut down a Christmas tree. Olga Ignatievna, a lively young woman from the Shivarev family, had decorated the tree. She is also dear to Vanka because she taught him to read, write, count, and dance. However, after his mother's death, Vanka was sent out of Olga's company and then transferred to Alyakin's premises. Overcome with emotion, Vanka returns to his letter, writing out a plea for his grandfather to take him away. He also, however, sends his regards to a few people from his former life in the village. After the letter is finished, the little boy puts down the name of his grandfather, Konstantin Makarich. For the address, he writes down the village. He is not aware of the fact that letters, in order to be sent, need to be stamped. In good hopes, Vanka rushes into the street, throws the letter into the nearest postbox, and then goes back to Alyakin's to sleep, happily dreaming about his grandfather sitting by the stove and reading the letter to the cooks. Let's move to the textbook. 9-year-old Vanka Shukov, who had been apprenticed 3 months ago to Alyakin the shoemaker, did not go to bed on Christmas Eve. He waited till his master and mistress and the senior apprentices had gone to church, and then took from the cupboard a bottle of ink and a pen with a rusty nib, spread out a crumpled sheet of paper, and was all ready to write. Before tracing the first letter, he glanced several times anxiously at the door and the window, peered at the dark icon, with the shelves holding cobbler's last stretched on either side of it, and gave a curring sigh. The paper lay on the bench, and Vanka knelt on the floor at the bench. Vanka Shukov is a 9 years old boy. He is apprenticed to Eliakim, a shoemaker. Vanka did not go to bed on the Christmas Eve. When his master's wife, and the other senior apprentices went to church, Vanka took a pen and a crumpled sheet of paper. Before starting to write, he looked around the room, the door and window, as if he was afraid. He looked at the lace on the shelves and gave a sigh. Then he knelt on the floor and started writing. Let's see the meaning of difficult words. Apprentice means trainee. Lace means a block of wood shaped like a foot used for repairing shoes. Icon means painting. Curing means shivering. Now we move to the second paragraph of the story. Dear Granddad Konstantin Makarich, he wrote, I am writing a letter to you. I sent you Christmas greetings and hope God will send you his blessings. I have no father and no mummy, and you're all I have left. Vanka wrote that, Dear Granddad Konstantin Makarich, he was writing a letter to him and sent him Christmas greetings. Vanka hoped God will send him his blessings. He had no father and mummy, and the grandfather was all he had left. Now we move to the third paragraph. Vanka raised his eyes to the dark window pane in which the reflection of the candle flickered. In his imagination, he distinctly saw his granddad, Konstantin Makarich. He was a night watchman on the estate of some gentlefolk called Shivarev. He was small, lean old man about 65, but remarkably lively and agile, with a smiling face and eyes blurry with drink. In the daytime, he either slept at the kitchen or sat joking with cook and kitchen maids. In the night, he wrapped himself in a great sheepskin coat, walked round and round the estate, sounding his rattle. Two dogs, Eel and Kashtanga, would follow him with drooping heads. Eel was named on account of his black coat and long weasel-like body. He was wonderfully respectful and insinuating. He had the same appealing glance on friends and strangers alike, but he inspired confidence in no one. His deferential manner and docility were pretexts for his cunningness and hostility. He was adept at stealing up to snap at a food, creeping into the ice house, or snatching a peasant's chicken. His hind legs had been slashed again and again twice. He had been strung up. He was beaten with an inch of his life every week, but he survived it all. Vanka saw his grandfather in his mind. His grandfather was a night watchman on the estate of a rich family. He was a small, lean, old man about 65, but he was lively and agile. He had a smiling face, but his eyes were blurry with drink. During daytime, he slept in the dark kitchen or spent time jogging with the cook and kitchen maids. In the night, he wore a sheepskin coat and walked around the estate, making sounds with his rattle. With him, there used to be two dogs. One was old Kashtanga, the other was Eel. Eel had a black coat and a long whistle-like body. Eel was respectful and always tried to get people's affection. He looked at friends and strangers in the same manner. He did not give confidence to anyone. His respectful and obedient nature hid his hatred and vengeance. He could go quietly and bite somebody's food, creep into the ice house, and steal a peasant's chicken. His back legs had been cut many times. Twice he had been hung up, and every week he was beaten up very badly. But he survived all. Let's see the meaning of difficult words. Rattle. It's a wooden object that makes a series of short, loud sounds when you spin it round. Drooping means bowing. Insinuating means to succeed in gaining somebody's affection. Deferential means behavior that shows you respect somebody. Docility, ready to accept instructions. Adept, good at doing something that is quite difficult. Weasel is an animal like a mongoose.